You hired illegals in your home, and you knew about it for a year. And the idea that you stand here before us and talk about that you're strong on immigration is on its face the height of hypocrisy.
And that was the GOP debate. This is the Rita Cosby Show. Of course, a lot of fireworks during the debate over immigration, over should there be a fence along the U.S.-Mexico border? Do we need more troops? And a number of the people on the stage during the debate were divided. Well, what did some of the experts think? Joining us now is Sheriff Richard Mack. He's a former sheriff of Graham County, Arizona, also a longtime crusader for freedom and individual rights. Sheriff Mack, how are you?
Well, Rita, I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me on your show today. I really appreciate being on with you.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you on, Sheriff, and I think it's so important. I have such incredible respect for law enforcement, and, you know, you guys, especially in Arizona, stayed with a lot of immigrants, dealing with a lot of the tough things that they were talking about during the debate. Right. Whose policies did you like? What issues and candidates were sort of resonating with you as a guy who obviously deeply cares about security and border issues?
Well, I do, and I actually my degree in college was actually in Latin American Studies, and I had prepared that specifically to get in the FBI and to work in Latin America, but the FBI never worked out. Even though my father was a retired FBI agent, it never worked out for me. So I got into law enforcement. I was elected Graham County Sheriff, which is just one county away from the border, about an hour and a half drive from my hometown to the border. And these are issues that I lived with most of my life because I grew up in southern Arizona. And I will tell you, I watched the debate, and I watched all of the debates so far with the Republicans with a great deal of interest. And security at the border is an extremely important subject to the sheriffs of Arizona and to the people of Arizona, but all along Texas, and I live in Texas now, but all along Texas and New Mexico and California. And the sheriffs are beside themselves. And one sheriff, in fact, in Texas, told everybody, you better keep a gun real handy because I cannot control what's going on at the border. And that was Sheriff West. And it's been something that has affected all Americans to one degree or another. The one I really found myself drawn to was also Ron Paul. And Ron Paul says you have to stop the freebies that are being offered by our government to illegal aliens. And no one blames them for wanting to come here. I love Latin America, and I love going down to Latin America. And I just got back from El Salvador, but I'll tell you what, I used to take my family down into Mexico to a place called Puerto Peñasco, and we don't go down there anymore. It's just too dangerous. I don't trust the drug cartels. I don't trust these wars, and I don't trust the war on drugs anymore. I was an undercover cop for a while in my 20-year career in law enforcement, but none of this is resonating that we're doing any good with the drug war and the cartel violence, and now we have our own government sending guns down to the cartels, and that's been a huge fiasco and the biggest scandal in American history since the assassination of JFK.
Oh, I'll tell you, the whole Fast and Furious thing is just, it's such a mess. And you know, Sheriff, you talked about stop the freebies. One of the things, of course, Rick Perry got under a lot of heat was about his policy that they have in Texas where they were giving sort of extra perks, extra tuition money, if you will, giving incentive for people to come to Texas. Do you think that that's a risky thing to do?
Well, it is risky, and it provides no benefit. He was trying to say, well, it was just a humanitarian, compassionate thing to do. Well, these people are not allowed to work in Texas or any place else in America after they get that degree. So what good is it? And that's a ridiculous freebie. And what has happened, quite honestly, is that the Democrats and the Republicans have continued to play patty cake with this security issue just to continue to get votes. And Bush did it, Clinton did it, Obama has done it, and now you're seeing Republican candidates try to do it. It's not working. And I can't believe that, you know, I travel all the time and I fly all the time. And what has hit me right in the face is that it's really easier for a criminal or even a terrorist from the Middle East, and this is true, it's already been documented, that terrorists from the Middle East come into America through the Mexican border, and it is actually easier for that to happen than it is for you and I to get on an airplane in any of our airports in this country.
And how sad is that? You know, I mean,
yeah, it is. It's disgusting.
It's a shameful. And everybody, we are also taking your calls. The number is 1-800-321-8828. 1-800-321-8828 here on the Rita Cosby Show. We're talking to Sheriff Richard Mack, former sheriff of Graham County, Arizona, as he said, one county away just from being right there on that key border there with Mexico. And, you know, when you hear about just the strife that's going in and out of Arizona, I mean, it is a mess. And to get a perspective on what's happening with the border, do we need to get tough? And our politicians, even the GOP candidates, trying to sort of pander still to that big group. What do you think? It's 1-800-321-8828. 1-800-321-8828. You know, I think you hit it on the head, Sheriff, that everyone's sort of afraid to really alienate that group because they say, okay, well, I still maybe need those votes.
Yeah. Yeah, in other words, these politicians, especially presidents of the United States now, the last three, are willing to sacrifice and compromise American security and safety for their own political gain. And that is the number one part of all of this that I really object to. Playing politics with national security. Man, oh man, how disgusting and pathetic is that?
Absolutely. What do you think, Sheriff, of all the border stuff, of the idea of the fence that we heard? You know, obviously Herman Cain supports a fence, Bachmann supports a fence. I think Rick Santorum. Is that a solution?
I don't think it is. I've been to the border. I've actually walked in those tunnels, and those tunnels are extremely sophisticated. Sheriff in Cochise County at the time, Jimmy Judd, when I was sheriff back in the 90s, had discovered some of these, and we actually, all the sheriffs in the state got to tour them, and the money and the sophistication of the drug trade is absolutely mind-boggling. And so I really doubt if the fence would cause this to stop. But regardless, whether it's a fence or whether we put troops down there, or whether we put earth detection devices 100 feet down in the ground, or we put radar to stop planes coming over, or how we would stop the boats coming around into California with illegal aliens, or, you know what? Whatever we have to do, we have got to secure that border. And if it takes a fence, fine, put the fence. But put the borders, put the Army or soldiers or National Guard, whatever you have to do, get them down there. We send troops to foreign countries, but we don't even secure our own border.
No, I agree with you, Sheriff. I think it's outrageous, and I think often we have our priorities completely out of whack, and I think we got to make sure our borders, especially given there's been a lot of bad folks coming over through Mexico, through Canada, especially that Mexican side, we've got to make sure that it is safe and secure. Sheriff Richard Mack, former sheriff of Graham County, Arizona, awesome to have you on with us, and love to have you back on again, sir.
Anytime you want. You just give me a call, Rita.
You got it. We'll be right back on The Rita Cosby Show.